Now, that's all the global market action that we have for you all this morning. How is all this going to be impacting our Indian markets? We have a team of research joining in with us to tell you what are the stocks to watch out for, set you up for trade, what's going to be happening in the world of F&O as well. First up, Hormaz is here to tell us what are the market cues we are watching out for today. Hormaz, obviously we've seen a deal coming in with US and Vietnam, but how is the Indian market expected to react to this? A lot of numbers that we are seeing in terms of Q1 updates as well that we will be reacting to.
Morning, Vinny. And the way they look at the market is completely subject to what side of the spectrum you are on. Because if you are a bear, you would say, okay, you are down 200 points in the last 3 trading sessions. If you are a bull, you would say, okay, we tested the lows of the day yesterday, but we recovered almost 80 points from that despite ending lower. So it's both sides. If you take a look at that, and it was the Nifty Bank that was the underperformance of the banking index that dragged the Nifty lower yesterday, predominantly because of the PSU Bank Index, which snapped a 6-day winning streak yesterday, and that took the bank Nifty lower in yesterday's trading session. Of course, the broader markets had a very volatile trading session. They recovered from the lows, then fell to the lows again, and then eventually ended up recovering as well. But the advanced decline ratio was firmly in favor of the declines in yesterday's trading session. And it was the metals index, though. Most of the other sectoral indices were underperforming. It was the metals index that bucked the trend over some developments that took place in China. That was the top sectoral performer yesterday. And an important session lies ahead today because, of course, it's the weekly expiry for the Nifty contracts. The Vietnam deal that you spoke about, that will keep a lot of these apparel makers in focus as well. The subject to what happens to our negotiations now going forward. The spotlight will be on that even further. And, of course, as you mentioned, there are multiple business updates that we'll be reacting to today. And the US market shut early today as a slew of macro data reported later this evening. So that will have a reaction tomorrow as well. Among the key levels, of course, yesterday's low remains the key for the Nifty 25,378, and of course it's struggling to cross that 25,600 band on the upside. So it's that 200-250 point range that the Nifty remains stuck in for now. At least for now, the GIFT Nifty is indicating a positive start for our own markets.
Okay, as of now, a positive start for our own markets is what we're watching out for. But which are the stocks that you should be keeping on your radar today? We have Upasna joining in with us to give us that list. Good morning, Upasna.
Good morning, Vinny. Lots of stocks on our radar on the back of Q1 updates. First up is M&M Finance. Overall, it's been a weak update. The disbursement growth stood at just about 1% on a one-year basis, and collection efficiency stood at 95%, dipped sequentially. Indian Bank also in focus. The total business is up about 10% on a one-year basis, and total deposits also saw a growth of 9.3%. So overall, it's been a good update. PNB Bank also in focus as domestic business is up about 1.5% sequentially and 11% on a one-year basis, and deposits have also seen a growth of about 1.7% sequentially and 12% on a one-year basis. So overall, it's been a steady update. V2 Retail also came up with its Q1 update. It's a strong update, revenue up 51%. Same-store sales growth for the quarter stood at about 5%. Hindustan Zinc also came up with its Q1 production numbers. The mine metal production stood at 2,605,000 tons with an uptick of just about 1% on a one-year basis. Vedanta also in focus as the demerger hearing is delayed. The NCLT to resume hearing on August 20th. Now, the legal representative from the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas has requested additional time to present their observations on the scheme on the next hearing, which is why the hearing is delayed to 20th of August. Now, lastly, on Nykaa, according to sources, Hardinpur, Singal Banga and Indra Banga is likely to sell nearly about 2.1% of their stake via equity block deals. Now, the block size is around 1,200 crores and floor price for the deal is likely to be set around 200 rupees per share. So, all in all these stocks likely to win focus.
Okay, Upasna, thank you so much for that. But Mangalam is here to tell us what should we be watching out for in the world of F&O. Today we do have the weekly expiry as well, Mangalam, and a bit of consolidation that we've seen so far. So what are we watching out for today now?
The market has been biding time, and today's weekly options expiry. My sense is that this one will go to the bulls. Why do I say that? Because, yesterday there was weakness on the Lal Street. But remember, the GIFT Nifty is indicating a positive start. And from lows yesterday, the Nifty actually rallied about 80 points as well. So we've tested recent lows of 25,280, there was 25,473, and then yesterday was 25,378. Now the question is, can we test recent highs? Remember, the highs on the Nifty on June 27th and the first day of the series, July series, 25,669, remain to be watched. Remember, FII sold about 1,500 crores in cash markets yesterday, but that was more than bought over by the DIs at 3,000 crore of inflows. There were some shorts added by FIs in index futures. Remember, they've been adding a couple of long positions. So 38% was their net long position earlier. Now that's fallen to 33%. They added 6,800 short contracts and unwound around 3,700 long contracts. That's positive because if they do not get follow through, and as the GIFT Nifty is indicating a positive start, we will obviously see them running for cover out there. And similar is the case for options as well. Yesterday, some of those short put writers had to close their positions out, and a lot of short call writers have come in ahead of expiry. Remember, the put call ratio has fallen from peak of 1.25, 1.28 now to close to 0.78, which is at the lower end of the range. So the market has tested the lower range. Now the question is whether it can go ahead and test the higher end of the range, and my sense is today could perhaps be that day. The 25,400 call writers, very active, premium at 99 rupees. 25,500 call writers as well, equally active, premium at 50 rupees, telling you that if the Nifty sustains about 25,500 and crosses past 25,550, there could be a further rally because these call writers will have to cover their positions. But the question is whether we hold on to yesterday's lows or not, and that's where put writers believe that we will, because there is 25,450 puts which have seen a fair amount of writing, premium of 65, so around 25,400 is important support.
Okay, keep an eye on the support levels over there as well. So thank you so much for that, Mangalam. On that note, we're going to actually slip into a very short break, and we get your excerpts from an exclusive interaction with Telecom Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia. Stay tuned in for that.